Hey guys, what's going on? James here. In this video today, we're going to be continuing the conversation of James Pearce Jr. You guys know I love talking about this guy, and I've gone so back and forth on this conversation. I've been on both sides of the fence, right? But Jason Light has a couple of interesting quotes regarding drafting players with character issues, and we're going to dive into that in this video right now. So when asked on how much he trusts his locker room to be able to help lead a prospect that may lack attitude or effort, Jason Light had this to say: "We've done such a great job of bringing in the right kind of guys for that reason, because they police themselves. Todd Bowles has a great culture and great relationship with everybody. Our coaches do a great job. Not all things that you may read about a player having maybe issues with his attitude or whatever it is, you can't believe everything you read. But also it's case by case basis with those. If these guys are immature, I'll take immature. They can mature pretty quickly in a locker room like ours and fall in line. There's certain things that we won't tolerate, but a little immaturity is one that we can live with, especially with the culture that we built." Then, when asked on what specific traits he looks for in prospects in terms of character, Jason Light had this to say: "How accountable they've been, what kind of leaders they are, their general character, how they treat everybody around the building, whether it's the interns or the people working in the kitchen and the janitors or whoever it is. We try to get a report from everybody that touched them during the day." Weird way to phrase it. I don't know if they realize this. Some of them probably wish they would have known that. Just hearing them talk about their teammates and what players that they went against this year and in past years that gave them troubles, and hear their confidence and their humility too. So obviously Jason Light is willing to take a guy who has some projected character concerns, right? You can't read into everything, or you can't take everything that you read as gospel, is what Jason Light is saying. And I do agree that I do think that the coaching staff in the locker room would be a good environment for any player to come in and be able to thrive to start their career. It's actually one of the top positives I give to Todd Bowles and his overall coaching staff, is that they have cultivated a good working culture here at the NFL level. But whenever we're talking about James Pearce Jr. and character issues and things along those lines, what are we talking about, right? Because Jason Light did say there are certain things that we won't tolerate. And I do agree with that. There are certain things as a professional NFL football team that you should not tolerate, but a little immaturity is one thing that we can live with. Okay, so what are we talking about? Well, James Pearce Jr. did have a traffic stop in 2023. He was arrested after being pulled over for speeding and for disobedient behavior towards police officers. The charges were later dismissed after he addressed the initial issues. In my opinion, and I'm not just saying this, right? I'm not just saying this, but how accountable has a prospect been? That shows accountability to me. You're addressing issues and the charges were dismissed. That's a positive thing, a positive growth that you see, in my opinion. Okay. He is still getting round 1 to round 2 projections by Lance Zierlein. His comparison is Odafe Owe. There are a couple of things in here as well, though. Apparently, Pearce did not interview well with teams at the combine and failed to quiet the character concerns around his name, which could cause him to slide significantly, per Walter Football. Multiple sources at different teams said that Pearce was being dropped off their board. It's not a great thing, right? Is that true? Is that not true? We don't know, right? There's a lot of smoke screens in terms of NFL draft time, okay? Per another report from Corey Kinnan, and this has been one that a lot of people have been pointing to, Pearce was seen as undeniably coachable at Tennessee, where he had 1 foot out the door last season. One NFL scout said that Pearce has the worst character report of any player in this class. Okay, so I went to the Corey Kinnan report, and sure enough, you did see, in terms of, I was told that the Tennessee football program could not only breathe a little easier once Pearce left the campus, but that his pitch count in SEC play was not injury related. Pearce was seen as undeniably uncoachable as a player, with 1 foot out the door already this season, giving his coaches little incentive to put him on the field full time. Which, by the way, you take a look at the stats: 7.5 sacks, 38 combined tackles. He still played every game this year. I mean, if this is the type of year that you have when you have, 1 foot out the door, still a decent year, in my opinion, okay? But I do want to go further down here, okay? I do want to go further down here. I was told by one scout that Pearce Jr. is seen as the player with the worst character report of any player in this class. Okay, that's what people have been saying is like, see, he's not character concerns, okay? But the very next paragraph here is saying, another scout told me they think the environment and people around him in Tennessee are the main issues, and they think he'd become a pro when he enters an NFL building. That falls more in line with what we were seeing from Jason Licht in terms of saying, hey, we feel confident in our locker room. We feel confident in the coaching staff that is here. A scout was agreeing with that. So I feel like people have been very hung up on the Corey Kinnan report, and specifically this chunk right here, talking about the Tennessee football program having one foot out the door. And this right here, the worst character report of any player in this class, okay? Jason Licht is saying, hey, you can't believe everything that you read, right? And we do have on record another scout saying, hey, if you get this guy in a good building, he can be a pro, okay? And there are a lot of positives with James Pearce Jr. 4.47 40-yard dash, 1.56 10-yard split, 31-inch vertical jump, 10-foot 3-inch broad jump. The guy is productive. He is, okay? So whenever I see this, I look at those reports, and guys, to be blunt, Jason Licht did say, hey, we can handle immaturity. We can. Now, there are some things that are non-tolerable. I agree. As a professional football organization, there are some things that are not tolerable. Do you guys see anything in what I just described to you guys as, yes, an immature young man, is what you're seeing, right? It does seem like, you know, if those reports are to be true, James Pearce Jr. may have a little bit of immaturity to him. He's 21 years old, guys. 21 years old. And you're getting conflicting reports, seeing, hey, he could be a pro when he enters the NFL building. And whenever asked about the reports, he said, first of all, I'm just a great person, a great teammate, a great ball player. And then they're getting everything they need, dominant edge, a dominant player. Okay, so he's trying to say, hey, I'm a great player, I'm a great person, I'm a great teammate, okay? And that's what you look for, okay? So all of these things that we're seeing, taking accountability in that 2023 traffic stop, I'm not seeing anything super serious that makes me say, hey, these are things that this young man cannot grow out of. I'm seeing things that really, it's a lot of it's coming out of just 1-2 reports. Really just one report if you really want to be specific in terms of the Daft on Draft football report. So that's something to consider with Corey Kinnan, and a little bit of some reporting from Walter Football as well. That could be something where it's like, hey, that's just a smokescreen to hope that maybe a team in the 20s says, oh man, I hope we can get James Pearce Jr., right? I'm not seeing anything here that makes me say this guy just is not going to make it in the NFL, right? Maturity, things along those lines, human beings can grow out of that. Young men, prospects can grow out of that. James Pearce Jr. is only 21 years old. Honestly, upon doing further research on these character concerns with not a ton of proof behind it, to be honest, besides just some hearsay and not a ton of specific examples, by the way, not a ton of specific examples. Whenever I pair that up with these Jason Licht quotes, I think there is a possibility that JPJ could be an option for the Bucs at pick 19. I really do believe that. And I'm going to be curious to see what happens now at pick number 19 and whether or not he will or won't be an option. But what do you guys think? Let me know your thoughts and opinions about it down in the comments section below. I would love to hear it. Let me know your guys' thoughts and opinions on James Pearce Jr. Do you agree with some of my logic? I know, I'm all over the fence with James Pearce Jr. I know that, right? But guys, I mean, to be blunt, he's not getting in serious legal trouble. If the worst thing I'm hearing about the guy is that he had 1 foot out the door and he was still out there with the most tackles he's had in his college career, the second most sacks he's had in his college career, second most tackles for loss. I mean, I'm not really worried about it, to be honest with you. If this is the type of production you're getting with 1 foot out the door, and we're not really even getting specific examples of that, by the way, it just seems like a lot of hearsay and a lot of mumblings, right? I think the Buccaneers can work with that. But what do you guys think? Let me know your thoughts and opinions about it down in the comments section below. I'd love to hear it. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Hope y'all enjoyed. As always, guys, I'll see you all in the next video or the next live stream. But until then, and as always, guys, goodbye for now, and go Bucs.